Namaste everyone, I am Spurti and welcome to Random PhD Talks, your go-to place for honest reflections of PhDs abroad. And with me today I have my dear friend Shivani, who is now a postdoc. So she's already done with her PhD and this is your second postdoc of sorts, right?
Yeah, but the first one was like 9 months, so that doesn't count.
Right. So in today's conversation, you're going to learn more about Shivani's PhD journey. How did she get into it? How did she find? What was the funding like? And a little bit about what the hell a postdoc is and why is she doing it? And if she recommends this for us or not. So let's start with your brief introduction, Shivani. Do you want to give us a brief intro about yourself?
Yeah, I don't know what all to say in my life story.
I mean, how much ever you want to in 2 minutes.
In 2 minutes, I mean, okay, so I'm Shivani. I'm originally from Delhi, and then because we're talking about the PhD journey, I did my bachelor's from Delhi University, then I did my master's from Sydney University of New South Wales, and then I came here to Leeds to do my PhD. And my PhD was on environmental politics. I think that's all you need to know. And my case study was in Delhi, so it was nice going back.
Yeah. I hope we will get to learn more about your PhD as well, because I personally really love the bit that you did with the farmers.
Have you read
Yamuna. I don't have to read every word, but I do know what's in it, right? That's what matters. We're also recording in a lecture hall today. This is, in fact, one of the oldest lecture rooms in the Leeds University. Apparently, this lecture hall was built in like 1930s or something, so it was pre-war, and that's why it's also a bit old, but it's really nice that we got the opportunity to record here today.
Ancient.
Yep. All right, so let us start with why PhD. When did you decide? How did that happen, and how did you end up in Australia of all places?
Yeah, I mean, that's then not the PhD, then that's going back to my master's.
Yeah, okay. Oh yeah, because you did your master's there as well. Yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, the reason why I went over there was very simple. I did my See, my life has just been a series of random events, okay? Don't think that I've thought too much about what to do next because you're asking why this, why that. There's no logical explanation. I'll tell you right now for any of my decisions in my life. So,
okay.
I did my bachelor's in Delhi University and I studied really hard in my 12th, okay?
Okay.
And I did commerce and I was like, I don't want to do this ever again in my entire life. So then I did English literature as my bachelor's from Delhi University. And in those 3 years, I did not study at all because I had studied so much in my 10th, in my 12th. I was taking badla.
So your 12th was commerce.
Yeah.
And then you did English lit.
Yes. Then I did English lit because I didn't want to study. And that was, I wanted to be as far away from numbers as possible. So that's where I landed.
Yeah.
So I did, 3 years, I did nothing at all, basically. I was just doing Ayashi. Yeah. And surprise, surprise, I did not get admission anywhere for my master's.
Yeah.
And so my chacha lives in Sydney.
Yeah.
And he used to keep calling me since I had done my 12th standard. I had no interest in going.
Yeah.
But then it fell to me that all the doors in India had shut because I did not study for 3 years. That's why. And in Australia, and it's a really good university, UNSW.
Mm-hmm.
It's, I think right now it's ranked like the top 25.
Can you expand what is UNSW?
University of New South Wales.
Okay.
So, Leeds is now like 75 or something, right?
Okay.
And UNSW is 25. So according to the QS ranking, whatever, doesn't matter. And what they wanted from me was just pass marks.
Yeah.
And a lot of money.
Yeah.
So, because I did not get any admission, like anywhere at all in Delhi.
So this story is clearly only going to be relatable to rich people then.
Yeah, but also a lot of people had taken loans and all.
True. Yeah.
So there were a lot of people, and so I went over there, and then I studied really hard for my masters because then I was like, I'm spending so much bloody money.
Yeah.
So I have to get I have to get it worth.
Yeah.
So because over there, because I understand in Leeds the situation is that every master's student has to do a thesis.
Yeah.
Over there you had to qualify
To do a thesis. Oh,
in masters.
interesting.
You had to score at least 75% marks
Wow.
overall, and then you could qualify, and then you could choose if you want to do it.
And this was
or
a
not.
2-year masters.
Yeah, this was a 2-year masters.
Okay.
So I chose to do it, and I think just for the kicks of it, I had no idea I'll do a PhD. So I was like, okay, let's just a new thing, so let's do it. And I did the same topic that I did in my PhD thesis. So it sort of evolved from there, from a master's thesis, and then scored well in my thesis, fortunately. And then the reason why I did a PhD, you ask, is because I did not get a job in in Australia because I had zero job experience.
Yeah.
And anyway, the market is so tough, even for people who have a lot of job experience. It's very hard. So me with zero job experience, I had no chance of getting anywhere. And then of course there are visa issues, blah blah blah. So I had also limited time to explore my options. And I was very happy also going back to India and doing something. But my mom really wanted me to do a PhD. I was like, I was 100% confident, 200% confident that nobody was going to give me a scholarship.
Yeah.
So I applied just to make my mom happy. And my aim was that I'll tell her that I tried my best. Nothing happened. So bad luck, you know. And for that, so because my aim was so short-sighted, I made my proposal. So what I did was I took my master's thesis, I took the introduction, I took the conclusion, sort of combined into 3-4 pages, and that was my proposal. Yeah. I think I worked on it like for 1 hour or 2 hours. That's it. Yeah. But of course, it came from like 3 years of my master's thesis.
Exactly. So, yeah.
But that actual document, I just worked for an hour or 2. That's it. And then people talk about quality versus quantity. I think I was happy with the quality. I mean, that was all I was capable of at that time. So I was like, "Isse zyada kuch ab ho nahi sakta hai." So this is what it is. And then I concentrated on quantity. Yeah. So I just started sending cold emails in the entire world.
Oh, okay.
Like anywhere at all. So what I did was I just took out the university ranking list. First, I tried in UNSW. They said, we don't have funding for you. Yeah. So I was like, okay, this is the rank which has rejected me, university rank. So let's start like going down from here. Okay. And then I would just like, click, and this would take like 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes for each university. I would just click the university, go to the people's page, like, sort of scroll down, just basically just like 3-4 words of their profile. Just their like, title or something. About their topic, and then I had my email ready that, hey, I'm looking for a scholarship, this is my proposal, I scored this much, blah blah blah, and I was just copy paste email send, copy paste email send, just change the name, dear professor, blah blah blah. So
but how did you know which department to target and which professor? Because considering there are multiple departments that you could reach out to, and even within a department sometimes there are multiple professors and associate professors. So who were you reaching out to, and how did you decide?
Yeah, again, it was it was so far back now, but I think I was just first, I was going to politics. And it also depended on the university website, how friendly it was to navigate. So I would just see like, the department list, and then I would just like, make a random guess about where my proposal would fit. So I think I would first go to politics, and then like, geography, or like, if they had some environmental department, then that. So it was just very, very surface level research, literally seconds of research. And then I think I sent like around 100 cold emails, knowing nobody. I did not know a single person.
Yeah. And how many universities would you say these 100 emails were to?
So I think it was around 50 universities.
Okay. So about 2 cold emails per university of sorts. Yeah.
And because like the PhD topic is a bit particular, right? Yeah. So then finding people that sort of align with it with 3 seconds of research on each person. Yeah. So I was just skimming. So whoever fits, that was the general amount of people. Yeah. Also, it depended on the university's website's friendliness. Yeah. Yeah. So if the website was very tough to navigate, I was just like, chuck it and then go to the next one. Yeah.
So when did you start sending the emails? Did you already graduate from your master's already? And then you were doing this. And how long did it take you to just send all these emails?
I would say like a month or 2 months.
Yeah.
That's it. Because and then out of the 100 emails, I
Yeah.
like only I think around 10 people responded.
Wow.
Right. And then out of the 10 people, I would say 9 people said that they liked my proposal.
Yeah.
There were a few, there were 2 or 3 who sort of gave me tips to improve. So that I implemented. But those were very minor, like, things.
They gave
to
tips,
adjust.
but they didn't give scholarship.
Yeah. So they were like, we're happy to supervise you. We like
Right.
the proposal. It aligns with our research interests, but we don't have the money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's fair enough. And I was just doing it to make my mom happy, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I was not sad about getting the email.
Yeah.
But anyway, the point is I didn't give up.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So even though I had no hope in
Yeah.
this entire process, I didn't give up. So I kept on sending, only like 100, I sent 100 emails, only around 10 people replied saying, no, we have no funds. Some people gave me tips on the proposal.
Mm-hmm.
And then I landed on Anna, who's our supervisor.
She's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I still remember, she just wrote one email, I might have funds for you.
Wow.
And then I just stopped my cold email and then concentrated on Anna. Full attack.
Yeah. So what did this attack entail?
So obviously, like, I sent her my proposal. I'd already sent my proposal. It was in my standard email.
Yeah.
And then I remember she told me to tweak it a little bit based on the project that she wanted me to apply into.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did that. And she was happy. And in the background, what Anna did was, which she told me later, she sent my proposal to a professor in India just to sort of like, double check context and all.
Yeah.
Luckily, that professor also really liked my proposal. So like, she got good recommendations.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
And then also in this entire thing, one is that like the proposal was like, people were saying it was good. So quality was nice. Quantity, like, I sent a lot of emails. Also luck.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was one of the major things, because I remember a year after joining the PhD, a year and a half after joining the PhD, I asked Anna specifically why she gave me the scholarship.
Yeah.
Because I know that there are 100 people who are better than I am.
Right.
And she said it was luck. I emailed her at the correct time.
Right.
So I emailed her before she had started looking.
Yeah.
And after she had been told that she needs to get a PhD student and there are funds available.
Wow.
So I emailed her right at the golden spot.
Yeah. Yeah, but just to share that we can't really predict this golden hour. So it is all the effort that you had actually put in before. It kind of led to this moment. So please remember that you have to put in that kind of hard work. And this is something that we're seeing as a theme from the previous friends who have shared as well, that sending cold emails itself is such a task. It does take a couple of weeks to months, and just do that rigorously, which is what seemed to help.
And also don't take rejection by heart. I mean, like there is a shortage of funds anyway at the university level. They keep on cutting funds anyway. So if somebody is saying that they really like your proposal, but they don't have funds, like, don't take it as a rejection, take it as an encouragement, because they actually like your proposal.
Absolutely.
They've given you time of their day, and you know how busy these professors are.
Yeah.
So nobody has any time. So even if they've even given you time, that's very valuable.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that is how you ended up getting your offer. So can you now take us through what that journey was like in terms of financial arrangements, the timeline from when Anna first said, hey, maybe I've got something for you, to when it actually materialized and when you started your PhD?
Yeah, so she said she might have funds, right? So then there was a long process. I think she sent me an email in like September, October of 2019. And then she still said might.
Yeah.
Nothing was finalized. And then I did all the paperwork, whatever requirements, HR requirements, recommendation letters, blah, blah, blah. Luckily, in terms of finance, the university gave me a full scholarship. So, but I still had to pay my health insurance, which was like, that's even getting that is a lot of money for a lot of people.
Which I believe in 2019 was actually much lesser in comparison to now. So if you are actually contemplating to apply to the UK, the IHS costs, which are the immigration health surcharge costs, have just gone over the roof. We have shared some of the numbers in the previous videos, but I think it is approximately somewhere around 70,000 per year at the minute. So that is a lot, and you have to pay for 4 to 5 years in one go. So that's a lot of amount that you have to start saving for.
So, but luckily, like, you know, I had savings from Australia, so that helped. But again, like, you know, a lot of people go through financial difficulties even after getting a full scholarship.
Absolutely.
So that's important to note. But yeah, then I did not get any confirmation, but I still took a leap of faith.
Right.
So my leap of faith was, I was a disability support worker in Australia. I quit that job. I moved to India. Nothing was confirmed till now, but I was like, this is like, you know, I'm getting positive vibes from this. And I approached it as an opportunity. If it worked out, great. Even if it didn't work out, I was prepared to not feel disheartened. I don't know what would have happened actually, you know, in reality. But still, I was taking it positively that, like, you know, I've come this far, which is also a very,
amazing.
like, you know, very difficult. And I was prepared to, like, you know, okay, I'll quit everything, come back to Delhi, concentrate on the application. If nothing works out, I'll go back to Australia. Like, you know, try again. But still, it was still a huge decision to quit everything and come back to India. So I came back to India, and then, you know, it's also very difficult getting all these paperwork, like date of, the birth certificate and all these things. It took me such a long time. I remember my birth certificate was a problem because that filed it, in the filing of it, they had numbered it wrong.
Oh no.
In the files. So generally you can get a birth certificate online, I think, easily now in India. But for me, there was an error showing up. Then I literally had to go to the office multiple times. And then I remember, I think I sat down once in front of the window saying, I'm not moving. Till I get my bloody birth certificate for the visa. Like, you know, of course, these, I think
it's a good shout out to remember that even if you've started applying and you know all of these other things are going to take time, meanwhile, start checking your important documents and to see if everything is in order, because that can take a lot of time as well.
So, I think then, so I left everything in November and I got my offer in December. So, you know, then, like, you know, all the process was going on, and then I came to Leeds in February 2020. So it was still
right before COVID.
Lucky times.
How was that?
Look, I don't want to be insensitive. But I was still, personally, my life was very good during COVID because I got to go back home. I was away from home for 3 years in Australia. And I really missed, like, you know, I still missed it. Like, you know, everybody misses that. So I really missed it. I still miss living in India. So it was, I took the first flight out. Like, you know, the first opportunity I got, I was out of here. Lockdown happened in, I think, March. And the rescue flights were sent.
Oh, were you in one of those rescue flights?
Vande Bharat. So I was rescued out of the UK because they said it's unfit for living. Thank God. So I was rescued out in May.
Were you quarantined then?
That was a very bad. I was treated like an animal, you know. They hosed me down with the sanitizer.
And you had to stay somewhere else for like 15 days?
I had to stay in a hotel for 7 days.
Was that okay-ish?
I chose the cheapest hotel, and the process of that was that you land at the airport. You're given a list of a few hotels with just the price. No like reviews, no star, no time to Google what hotel is this. So I picked the cheapest one. And my room had no window. So
God.
But the food was really good. So that's a bonus. Good. I mean, the other options in the list were like Taj. Right. So you had to pay for all this. Like, the thing is that they told us we're going to stay for 14 days. And then, because it's Delhi, people have powerful connections. After 7 days, one person got a letter from some high office police person saying that 7 days is enough.
Yeah.
Everybody else in quarantine in the hotel saw that that person has a letter which says 7 days is enough.
And that's it. That's your
And we
escape.
all packed our bags.
ये जा रहा है तो हम भी जाएंगे.
Yes, we were like, we held on to him, being like,
Yeah.
this guy's going there.
And end of quarantine already right there.
Yeah. So it was a sudden end of quarantine.
Yeah. Wow.
And then, yeah, so I went home. I got to stay home for around 2 years, which I was very happy about. Then I came back to the UK.
Yeah.
In this miserable place.
Which she now loves so much that she is potentially planning a future here.
Who said?
Potentially in the near future. We don't know about future.
No, but I can plan whatever I want. The country has to plan also, na? I need to get a job.
And that is where we'll move to postdocs. So Shivani started her journey of hunting a PhD as a job.
Yeah.
And then now it's moved to postdocs. So do we move to postdoc? Is there something else that you want to share about PhD?
No, I think a lot of people have already covered the PhD journey, right?
Yeah.
And, I don't think I had anything.
But we actually
unique to
covered
share.
a lot until we get into a PhD. We didn't actually cover the PhD journey itself. So if there are any other insights, so were you able to complete it on time? How did that
more
happen?
or less. See, the thing is that you get funded for 3 years,
Yeah.
right? In my experience, if you just do your PhD and nothing else, you'll complete it in 3 years. But if you do that, you're not going to get any job.
So there's a slight hint to me. I can feel it. But it's okay.
No, what hint? No, you're doing great because you're
Yeah,
expanding so much, right?
Sure,
So that's
sure.
the point. And also then it depends on finances, right? Like you can advise whatever you want. The financial situations are real. So then people have to make their own decisions.
Yeah.
So for example, during your PhD, if you decided to go for conferences, like, organize workshops, any other thing related to the PhD, it's going to take a lot of time. That takes a lot of time.
Yeah. And these are actually some important checklists to have as well in your PhD journey. That is something that I'm learning, that do some teaching, do some assistant work, do some demonstration work, try and become a partner in other people's work, and if possible, get your name out there with their work. What else? Yeah, attending conferences, supervising masters or undergrads, networking. So I think this is like a PhD checklist of sorts, and I think it is also important for me to share that international PhD students usually cannot convert into a part-time PhD. So if you are here on a student visa, so it has to be full-time, 3 years, 3.5, 4 years, whichever scholarship you get. But at the end of it, that is it. You cannot extend it. You cannot, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to extend it, one. And two, you cannot convert it into part-time, unlike the colleagues from here who can. Yeah, back to you.
So again, so the 3-year funding. I haven't met anybody who's completed their PhD in 3 years because all these extra things, you have to do it.
Yeah.
So I completed mine in 3.5 years. Like I submitted mine in 3.5 years. And then the Viva happened and then the revisions. So all this process took 4 years. But then once you submit, there's not much work after that.
So once you submit around 6 months, you can wrap it up of sorts, right?
But no, it depends on the examiners. Like it depends on the corrections you get. So if it's minor corrections, you get 3 months.
Yeah.
If it's major corrections, you get 6 months, or like how much of a shit hole you are in. It depends on that.
Yeah, got it. Okay, so you now submitted your PhD, your funding has come to an end. So what's next? What was your thought process like? How did you navigate the path from there? Yeah,
again, I was very super extremely lucky because I was in the project called Water Hub in short.
Yeah.
And again, the lucky thing that happened was that there was a postdoc position during my PhD at all times, which was occupied. When I completed my PhD, everybody had gotten better roles. So they had left. So that position was empty.
That is some luck. Yeah.
So I sort of automatically got that role.
She still had to apply and go through the due process. Yeah.
But like, if you're in the project, and the project was ending, right? So if it's the start of a project or if it's the middle of the project, there's still more competition. Because the research is still developing. So other people have more time of entering the project. But I became a postdoc in the project when the project had ended. Like the funding had almost ended anyway. I think the funding was left for 3 months, and then there was a no cost extension for 6 more months. So at that time, they're not going to take any new person, because otherwise they'll have to sort of tell them what's going on in the project, blah, blah, blah. So that way I got super lucky. And then, but the thing is that that was a 9 months thing. And in a 9-month postdoc, you can't do anything at all.
Yeah.
Like, what are you gonna, you can't develop a project. You can't do anything.
Yeah.
So that was basically just sort of writing up my thesis. But that I got very lucky, because then that writing phase I was paid for.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And my current postdoc, the first day of my postdoc, my previous postdoc, Water Hub postdoc, that was for 9 months, I started applying for postdocs.
Wow.
I remember the first week I prepared a proposal to get the next job.
Yeah.
Luckily, my supervisors were super friendly, super encouraging. They're the ones who sent me the advertisement to go for it.
Yeah.
So a lot of my previous postdoc time was spent writing proposals to get a new postdoc.
Yeah. So she does say it very casually, but I think it's really endearing to see the kind of relationship that she's developed with her supervisors. So there's no pressure to, have a similar relationship, but yeah, always try and aim to have a very nice relationship with your supervisors, because usually they are at a bigger advantage to get news much more quickly than we do, and the networks are much bigger as well. So it is always nice to have that kind of guidance and support throughout. So, yeah.
And I always say that your PhD is dictated by your supervisors. If they want, it can be a very smooth journey.
Yeah.
If they want, you will not finish.
Yeah.
At all. So it's very unfair. It's a very unfair power imbalance.
Yeah.
So forget about getting the famous names.
Yeah.
If you can find out if they're a nice person, go for the nice person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
so to get my second postdoc, it took me a year of applications, and I did not even get an interview. I got two applications, went to the second stage.
Right.
I think that's it.
And how many applications did you send?
I think so. Creating the proposals for a postdoc is also very long process, right? One application is like 15 pages long or something.
Wow.
So and then they're very topic specific.
Yeah. So these were no longer cold emails. You were responding to direct postdoc ads.
Yeah. So in a PhD, if you're lucky, you create a proposal and then you send your proposal wherever you want. But the proposal remains the same. You're just changing the email.
Yeah.
In the postdoc, you have to create a new proposal for every topic that you're applying for. So there are two types of things. One is a research fellowship.
Yeah.
And one is a postdoc.
Okay.
I found out the difference after joining my postdoc. But there is a big difference.
Okay.
In a research fellowship, you get funded to create your own proposal. You choose the topic, you choose the timeline, you choose the objective, whatever. Generally, they are a year, 2 years. Sometimes there's also research fellowship to convert your thesis into a book.
Oh, wow.
That's also very rare, but that also happens.
Yeah.
I saw one application, I came across one that was for 3 years funding to convert your 3 years or 1 year. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But it was very good,
Yeah,
you get funded to convert your PhD into a book. That's a research fellow. A postdoc is when there is a project already and you're just going as a researcher, right? Like a more senior level researcher than a PhD.
Yeah.
So in that, you have a lot of flexibility, but the topic is set, the goal is set, the time frame is set. Everything is, you're basically working for somebody else or you're working for yourself in a research fellow.
Yeah.
That's the difference. So both my roles were postdocs. And it gets confusing because in the advertisement, they write research fellow and not postdoc.
Okay.
So it's basically you have to understand
the difference.
What is happening. So each application is very long. It takes a long time. You have to, for every application, you have to research a little bit because you sort of fit it to the topic. Yeah. Also, a lot of times what happens also with the PhDs, it's the same thing, is that because of networks and blah blah blah, they might post something, but they might already have somebody in mind to give that post to. So you can do all.
So like a global challenge. It happens everywhere, not just India. Okay.
Yeah. So you will do whatever you want. Like, you might be better at the job than this selected person,
but they have a better network.
Yeah. So you won't get it.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, if I say candidly, there's also, which is a good thing in certain cases, but then in certain cases it's not. So what I'm saying is that in a lot of applications that I wrote, there was, for example, there were 2 applications which had an Africa focus. There was one application which had a indigenous communities focus, which is very great. They wanted somebody African to do the Africa things, and somebody indigenous to do the indigenous research, which completely makes sense.
Yeah.
However, they don't say that in the ad, right?
Got it. Yeah.
So then, like, I mean, the reason why I found out was because then I contacted people from the university that I knew, not the person who had posted the job, but other people. And they're the ones who sort of, like, fed me the news that, oh, like, this is what they were looking for. That's why you did not. So even if you fit the topic completely, and if you don't get the job, I mean, don't be disheartened. It's just like, it's just how it's turned out.
Yeah. So, can you share a bit about the visa process, because you are here on a student visa to do a PhD? Is it the same visa that you can continue, or are there any extra costs to it?
So I mean, I did my postdoc in the post-study work visa, the postgraduate thing, and the extra cost is obviously like the visa fee and the health. So
can you give an idea as to how much did you have to pay? And because you also shifted from a postdoc to postdoc, did you have to do that twice?
No, it's the same. Yeah. I mean, I can't remember. Honestly, the cost, you can Google it.
Yeah. I think it's quite expensive. I think about £4,000.
But it's the same.
It's a lot.
But it's the same. It's not, it's the same NHS health surcharge per year.
Right. So, but this time you're getting it for 3 years, right? Yeah. Okay.
So PhDs get 3 years, other people get 2 years.
Got it.
So and right now the rules are that if you are doing a PhD from a good university, which is like University of Leeds in the UK, and you have like the project is like established, blah blah blah. It's funded from a good body. They'll give you a global talent visa for 5 years.
Oh, if you manage to get a nice postdoc, then you can apply for a global talent visa.
And the application will go through the project.
Oh, nice.
So the project will write a letter sort of recommending you. I haven't gone through this process, so I don't know the nitty-gritties.
Yeah, but will the project cover any associated costs?
Yeah, so the university said they'll cover the visa fees, but not the health charge.
Yeah.
So
it can't be all smooth for you.
You can't have that
like
much.
Suffer a bit.
Until you cry.
Exactly.
Where are the tears?
I mean, the PhD stipend is already like,
there's less
you can't
than the minimum
save.
wage.
Exactly. It is less than the minimum wage, so you can't really save. But expecting to pay for any other costs, be it for this conversion of the visa to a postgrad visa, or IHS for anything, it is honestly an expensive exercise. But I think for those who are planning a foreseeable future in this country, then I think that sort of investment makes sense as well. So it is important to start thinking about what your near future looks like and what you want to do as well. I think that matters a lot.
But what would you recommend? If somebody is getting a scholarship, I would say 100% invest in the medical charge. Even if you have to get a loan, get it. But if somebody is not getting a scholarship, would you recommend?
No.
I would also not.
No, I think it's a bad idea because one, why? Why do you even want to put yourself through all of that? Because I think a lot of them do the people who are putting themselves through these kind of situations are the ones who think it is very easy. Once you come here, you're going to get a job that's going to be, 3 times, 4 times the salary that you were getting in India. So you're going to make up.
Kharcha is 3 times.
Exactly. 4 times. You're going to make up for all of that gap in income, but it just doesn't work that way. One, there are no jobs.
There are no jobs.
Yeah, because I do remember, again, a lot of people do think that you're going to get a part-time very easily. Even part-time with the uni.
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen. With the uni, forget it. It is very rare.
Yeah.
It just comes and goes in, just like few week assignments.
Yeah, there's just 3. That's the policy of the university. If a post does come out, it's just for 3 months.
Yeah, there you go. So don't even explain. This is not like the US at all. There people think that, oh, I take an education loan, I go and then I work and then I finish paying all my tuition fee and everything. It just doesn't work that way. There's very, very few opportunities even to work outside. So please do remember all of these and do try for a full-time scholarship. If not this year, it is okay to defer. Try again, improve on your proposal meanwhile, build your networks. All of this is an investment in your own self. So I would really suggest that is the way.
Yeah, but it's also like, I also give this advice, but it's also now I see all these discussions happening in India that if you have a PhD from India, people are not getting jobs in Indian universities. Like if we go with our Leeds University PhD, we'll get a job. But in which,
I think in organizations, right? Because in academia, it doesn't work. We still have to write in NET and GRF for us to go back into academic
private universities, no? Like,
for
example,
private
Ashoka and all.
Yeah.
So over there, I've heard that they're only taking top 100 rank
because I think one of the argument there is, of course, once you step out of the country, it is our own perspective that changes a lot. Our network just explodes, right? It is not to say that you can't do this while in India. If you're active, and I would argue, if I was not here, I would definitely argue with anyone that my network was definitely almost as big as someone else who was doing their masters or PhD here. So I think it really depends on how you're using your time and where do you see yourself, what kind of network you are trying to build, and how you're trying to position yourself and all of those things.
And I mean, I don't know how, like, I've not done the PhD in India, right? I don't know how it works in India, really, the system, but the impression I get by talking to people who are doing a PhD in India is that over here we just get more opportunities, we get more space to explore. Over there, it's more there is more oversight.
A lot of micromanagement. So, I did hear stories of how one of this person that I was talking to was actually working on the supervisor's project, and she was not allowed to take a leave until she finishes that project, but her name is not on that project. So things like these apparently are normalized in a lot of Indian universities, but when you come here, you somehow unlearn and are forced to face a lot of these like head on. Forget micromanagement. I think there's barely any management. So you're completely forced to do everything yourself. So it's also the other.
But again, I would say it's dictated so much by the individual supervisor that, like, largely I would still say that's true in, like, there's a vast difference in India and the UK, but I would still say be careful. Even in the UK you can find people who micromanage, and even in India you can find people who sort of give you open space.
So spend your time in researching into the topic and the professor you're reaching out to, not just the number of citations their papers have, but speak to the students that they have supervised previously. Try and reach out to them on LinkedIn, look at what are they saying, how is their relationship. You can do all of this online these days, so just put in a lot of time into that. Don't just, if you found a nice opportunity, don't just get into it. I was actually just speaking to another friend yesterday who had a very traumatic experience. She was almost in tears because for her, there was no support system of sorts. She was a very lonely PhD student in that department altogether. And there's nothing to refer to, right, even for the internal transfer processes. And she was almost in tears. It's like, they just don't like everything I'm writing. I don't think I'm worthy enough.
And please don't take it personally. Your PhD is not you. a lot of people take like, the feedback personally, that this is me that they're criticizing. They're not criticizing you at all.
Yeah, yeah.
But also, like, you're saying that take feedback online. I remember you contacted me about Anna.
I did.
Before, on LinkedIn. But I of course provided you honest feedback. And the reason was that I was able to provide honest feedback.
True.
Because
not everyone would be in that situation.
So, but that's the catch-22 situation. I feel that if your supervisor is good,
then
you'll provide good feedback anyway, and you won't be afraid of what to say. But then even if you don't get that feedback, that it was fine. The important bit is getting the negative feedback. But getting that without personally connecting to the PhD student, it's very hard, because
also understanding the silences, right? You don't need to have exact yes or no answers. Like try and this interpretation, which is what we use in qualitative research a lot as well. So that is how actually I got in touch with you, right? Because Anna was really nice. I loved the way she responded. She and Lata both actually. And just their response made me want to pursue PhD even more, because they were so welcoming. And I mean, who gives, first of all, so much time and importance, and then saying that, hey, this has a lot of potential and I'm excited to work on this with you. Just that, from a senior professor, I think it makes a world of difference. So even if you're applying, just enjoy any of these small wins that you get. They do matter a lot. Yeah. So any last tips from the lucky Shivani?
My last tip is that when you think of a PhD, think of it as a PhD and not as your life. There is a huge difference. If you choose to go to a different country to pursue your PhD, also enjoy the country, enjoy the travel, enjoy sort of the experiences. Don't just talk to the easy people. For example, for me, initially when I moved out of my house for my master's, it was very hard for me to make friends. I was only comfortable, I think, around Indian people, because also it was difficult. In the beginning, it's difficult understanding the accent. It's difficult understanding the context of what's happening. You're in a new country, everything is new. You're so flabbergasted. You're like, what's happening? It's nothing.
Which is where I am at right now with Shivani. She's very kind. She does send me all these nice, really cool invites to try, and I keep passing them on. But one day I will make it a bit. But I do genuinely struggle to be in a bit louder spaces, or spaces that have lots of music and dance going on. But that is the local culture, and I need to kind of, at least experience and adapt a bit, because when I speak about network a lot, this is also part of it. Any other tips?
Also, informal conversations are very important. The water cooler talks, they're very important. I would say 50% of the opportunities I've gotten are because of water cooler talks.
Is it with staff, colleagues, professors?
Anybody at all. Because with like colleagues, you get a lot of random information, which is very helpful. So for example, my transfer process was really, really difficult. And I really think that the reason why it was difficult was because I was in India, cut off from all other PhD students. I really think if I was in Leeds talking to all the other PhD students, I would be much better prepared. I was getting all the official communication, but that was very narrow and limited. There's a lot of stuff which you get, and random talks turn into opportunities, especially in academia, because you first have to work a lot to create a proposal, to get funding, and then it actually becomes work. So for an idea to become work, there's a lag of like a year minimum, generally. So that water cooler talk will and can turn into a project later down the line. So very important. Keep on talking to anybody you see.
Oh, that's important. I should try as well. I will.
You talk to everybody.
No, I try. But I think I do also have these like mood swings where, like I think currently I'm in a phase where I'm like really happy with myself. So I'm talking to everybody, but then suddenly there are days where I completely loathe myself, and those are days when I don't want to talk to anyone. So yeah, but great tips. Thank you so much, Shivani, and I really loved some of the points that you brought in, where the reason for your PhD could honestly be anything, as long as you're doing it. If you're doing it for your mom, if you're doing it just to find a job, if you're doing it to just get out of the country, it could be honestly anything, but it really depends on the effort that you're putting in, is what I got in from this conversation. Cold emails seems to work best so far, so be at it. Shivani gave us another wonderful idea of how to find and identify a university, which is pick the QS ranking list
or any ranking list.
Any ranking list, and just keep at it. And yeah, once you find a glimmer of hope, pakdo usko, don't let it go. Perfect. Thank you so much. And don't forget to check out the other episodes. And please let us know if you have any further questions or comments. I have been receiving a lot of requests asking for some help with PhD. I'm really happy to offer some advice on SOPs and other stuff, but please do watch the other videos because we've already covered a lot of important information. And if there are any other pressing questions that have not already been covered here, then please reach out. This is all part of research. All right. See you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye. Please tell Spurti to feed me.
Yes, I will. I will.